We were three best friends chasing the perfect girls' trip, just Emma, Sarah, and me, Olivia. After months of planning, we decided on Sedona, Arizona. The red rocks, vortexes, and desert sunsets felt like exactly what we needed. Instead of taking the main highway, we chose a scenic shortcut through Oak Creek Village to reach our rented casita. Faster, that decision would haunt us forever. The casita looked adorable in the listing private yard, wooden decks surrounded by desert beauty, but the second we stepped inside after sunset, a cold unease wrapped around us. The keypad jammed twice, a stale cigarette smell lingered near the entrance, even though the listing clearly said non-smoking. Worst of all, the shower tiles were still damp with fresh footprints that didn't match any of our shoes. We tried laughing it off, probably the cleaner, Sarah said, but deep down something felt wrong. That night, at 1:15 a.m., I woke up to the sound of slow, heavy footsteps crunching on the gravel right outside our window. Not an animal, the weight was unmistakably human. The steps moved with purpose, circling the entire casita. My heart started hammering, then came the soft metallic tapping on the glass. Someone testing the window, trying to find a weak spot. A dark silhouette appeared against the faint moonlight. The figure stood completely still, head tilted, at an unnatural angle, staring directly into our room. Sarah whispered, in pure terror, "Olivia, it's looking right at us." Emma grabbed my arm so hard, her nails dug into my skin. The intruder moved to the front door, the handle rattled violently, then silence. For a few terrifying seconds, we thought it was gone, until the tapping started again, this time from inside the house. From the hallway leading to our bedrooms, the horrifying twist hit us all at once. It had been inside with us the entire time. We huddled together, barely breathing, as the footsteps slowly approached our door. Just when we thought the door would burst open, bright headlights flooded the windows. Two sheriffs stormed in and dragged a man out from behind the deck. He was the previous tenant, recently evicted, still using the old keypad code. He had been living in the casita secretly, and had been inside just hours before we arrived. As they put him in the car, he turned his head and smiled directly at us. With dead eyes, he whispered something the officers didn't hear. "I was only checking if you girls were the right ones." We packed our bags before sunrise and fled Sedona in complete silence. That innocent shortcut off the highway didn't just lead us to a stalker, it led us to something far more patient. Something that had already chosen us. 2 months later, still trying to shake off the Sedona nightmare, we planned a mountain getaway to the Blue Ridge Mountains in North Carolina. Wanting to save time, we took another shortcut through remote backroads. The old wooden cabin looked peaceful online, sitting beside a quiet lake. We had no idea what was waiting underneath it. A violent storm hit that evening and killed the power. While searching the pantry for candles with only phone flashlights, I discovered a small hidden crawlspace door behind the shelves. The air coming from it smelled like damp earth, and something much worse. That night, as rain hammered the roof like gunfire, the dragging sounds began beneath the floorboards, slow, wet, and deliberate. It moved exactly under our bed. Then the real horror started. It whispered our names first, Sarah, then Emma, then mine, not loud, not panicked, calm and intimate, like an old friend, practicing in the dark. We huddled together on one bed, too terrified to even whisper. The sounds evolved. It began mimicking our voices, softly laughing under the floor, in perfect imitation. At one point it tapped directly under me, matching the exact rhythm of my racing heartbeat. The psychological torture was unbearable. The most shocking twist came at dawn, when the maintenance man finally opened the crawlspace. We saw clear drag marks through thick dust, multiple sets of fresh footprints, and a small notebook. Inside were our full names, ages, sleeping positions, and even notes about what we had said the night before. Someone had been living under the cabin for days, listening, watching, learning everything about us. The storm didn't force it out, it simply made the thing bolder. We drove away in complete silence, each of us realizing the terrifying truth that had studied us like prey before we even knew it existed. For our next trip, we headed to California, wanting to reach the Alabama hills faster. For golden hour photos, we took a lonely desert shortcut through the Mojave. Our rental car overheated in the extreme heat, stranded on an empty gravel turnout with zero cell signal. Panic started setting in. After 30 agonizing minutes, an old pickup truck appeared. The shirtless, sunburned driver stared at us for a long time before stepping out holding a crowbar. He didn't speak, he just began walking toward us with terrifying calmness. We scrambled back into the car. The engine struggled but finally started as we sped down the empty desert road. The truck Followed for 28 miles, he stayed exactly behind us, matching our speed perfectly through the pitch-black desert, the scariest part. In the rearview mirror, we eventually saw 3 silhouettes sitting in his truck. He had picked up others along the way. Only when we reached the lights of a small town did the truck finally turn around, but the horror wasn't over that night. At our motel, we found desert sand carefully arranged outside our door, in the shape of our exact license plate number. The shortcut through the desert hadn't just put us in danger, it had marked us something, had followed us all the way back. Desperate for a normal trip, we chose Savannah, Georgia. We booked a cheap historic hostel in the old district for that authentic feel. Late one night, around 3:40 a.m., I woke up freezing. A man was sitting completely still at the foot of my bunk, elbows on his knees, staring directly at me in the darkness. When I managed to whisper, "Get out," he smiled slowly and replied, "I knew you girls would pick this exact room tonight." He stood up with calm confidence and slipped out silently. The staff swore no guest matching his description was staying there the next morning. He was waiting across the street, watching us with the same dead smile. He even waved like we were old friends. We ran to a more expensive hotel, but found a handwritten note slipped under our door that simply said, "See you on your next trip." That cheap shortcut choice had led us to someone who was already waiting for us, someone who knew our plans before we even arrived. Our last girls' trip was supposed to heal us. We went to the Smoky Mountains in Tennessee, and took one final shortcut trail near Clingman's Dome. Deep in the thick woods, we got lost as daylight faded. Then we heard a completely flat, emotionless voice, repeating, "Help me," and hurt, from the trees, same words, same tone, over and over, with unnatural precision. We backed away slowly from a ridge above. We saw fresh footprints in the mud, large adult ones leading straight toward the voice, followed by smaller footprints that suddenly stopped with no signs of struggle. They just vanished. That night, while camping slow, footsteps began circling our tents. Low male whispers. Then the gentle tap against the tent fabric, right beside my leg. Slowly tracing the shape of my body through the thin nylon, one of them whispered clearly, "They're perfect." They eventually left before dawn. But when we checked our phones in the morning, we found new photos taken from just outside our tents. Pictures of all 3 of us sleeping peacefully. Every single shortcut we took on this girls' trip had led us deeper into something ancient, patient, and hungry. We canceled every remaining plan and drove straight home. We never took another trip together again, because we finally understood the horrifying truth: some shortcuts don't lead to beautiful destinations, they lead straight to something that was already waiting for us in the dark. And it's still out there, remembering our names.